Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're going to be looking at another small atmospheric mining ship, because what I intended to do today was do some Space Engineers too, but unfortunately that's a bit too unstable to do any kind of recordings with. I can maybe get 5 to 10 minutes out of it before the game crashes, and it does seem to have a rather nasty memory leak going on with it. Yes, but today we're going to be looking at another ship from the Advent Calendar series, which happens every single year, and this one is simply called the Pickaxe Atmospheric Miner, which is this lovely thing all the way over here. So this ship has a rather fantastic design at the front here. It's got 3 drills, some lovely white, yellow and grey steel blocks go along with it, make a very artistic look from the top. It's got atmospheric thrusters, so it's only good for being on the planet, and it's good enough to fly on the alien planet when all fill up with stone. So very quickly grab how my character can all around towards the very front. You do have to reach around behind this drill to actually get to the cockpit. There is a way to get inside on top, but that requires using your jetpack. Yes, come inside here, first person view, that's all we can see from the outside. It's serviceable at the end of the day, but we do have a camera on top to actually get a better look at what's going on. Yes, in the third person view, lifting this all the way up off the ground, we're going to be very, very slow. That's because I did some pre-mining and actually filled this to the brim to show you how it flies when all heavy. So inside here, there we are with all the resources. We've got some in the cockpit, got a bunch in the connectors, and of course our drills and medium cargo containers we've got on the left and right hand side. Closing that, moving left, moving right, forwards and backwards. We've got some pretty good speed moving backwards and forwards, which is what you want from a mining ship. Moving down could be a bit of a problem if you aren't close to the ground, because it does take quite some time to come to a stop on the alien planet. Of course, moving up, there we are, that's the speed we get with that. But yes, this ship is very, very heavy when all full up, but still it can fly on the alien planet, which is jolly good stuff. Coming all the way down to the ground. There we go, a nice big plonk, just relining it, there we go. Now I'm going to come in here, eject out all the stone inside so we can actually fly around later on, all nice and empty. That's the wrong thing, want to be on that one. Throw it all out. Now I'm going to grab free camera once again. It's pretty much back in the same position it was. And I'm going to press F10 and find it in the spawn menu. So the Pickaxe Atmospheric Miner is 364 small blocks using no DLC packs and no mods. You see up to here there's clearly part of the Advent Calendar series. And we do have a nice bit of lore all about it over here. Then right below that, got our specifications telling you all the important stuff about your ship, as well as where it can and cannot fly. Just simply give this thing a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, go for the controls, and then fly over to the mountainside and mine up the mountain. Now what I will mention before I actually go take it over to the mountainside is, with the way the ship has been set up, with the way the drill's been set up, it can drill all the way through the mountainside without adjusting anything. Simply activate the drills and just move forwards all the way through, no issues whatsoever, which is jolly good stuff. But yes, with the very front here, this is what we get for the Pickaxe Atmospheric Miner, where as you can see we've got 3 drills drilled for a mountainside, where like I said just a second ago, you can go all the way through without adjusting yourself. Behind the center one is of course our cockpit that we saw just a second ago. We've got a very compromised view, because we do have a camera right up there, where you can see a better look at what's going on ahead of us. Now what I will mention right now is that there was a block sitting right over here, the half block, that was causing a very glitchy issue when flying this thing around while viewing the camera, so simply remove that for your viewing pleasure. Anyway, back towards the front, we see our ore detector at the very top there, right next to a blinking white lights. Then of course we can see a bunch of our white, yellow and grey steel blocks that go on the top and the bottom of our drills. Then down at the very bottom here, there's a spotlight, there's a blast edge block, then of course our magnetic plate to clamp ourselves down on, where at the very back we've got landing legs to also help clamp yourself down with. There's a connector, one of 2, go and unload everything you collected. Then move around onto the side. There we go, we see a spotlight half covered up by some grey steel blocks. Onto the actual side itself, there's a red blinking light on this side, and there'll be a green one on the opposite. There's the side of our medium cargo container with one on the opposite side, so we can easily pull stuff in and out if we want to do that. Then over here we've got 3 atmospheric thrusters, which is a set of 6 on both sides to help slow this thing down, which is jolly good stuff. You need to have a lot of stopping speed on a mining ship. Anyway, down below here, atmospheric thrusters for your left and right, and of course our large ones keep us off the ground. We see our connectors being converted all the way up to our rear connector, right over there. Of course there's our rear landing legs. Round towards the very back here, there's our rear set of atmospheric thrusters up slow you down, as well as a bunch to boost you forwards. There's a rear camera to help actually connect up that connector right next to it, and of course 2 gyroscopes to help maneuver this thing around. Moving down slightly, there we are, our bear coming all the way across from that other connector. Moving all the way up, looking down. There we are, so we've got our battery, then we've got our beacon, there's our blinking white light, just across the here, there's your blinking green light. Towards the front, ore detector, there's a way to get inside the cockpit from the very top. And then towards the front there, there's your drills, there's your white, there's your yellow, and of course your grey steel blocks covering them all up. Moving down underneath it, there we are, so there's a connector with another camera to help dock it up. and of course our large atmospheric thrusters, all of our small ones, and of course even more grey steel blocks. Then over here we can see how our yellow has linked across over that conveyor, very nice and artistically. With that, that's a very brief look around the outside of the Pickaxe Atmospheric Miner, and what it is, it's a bloody good looking ship. I do absolutely love this section at the front here. With the way that's been done, it's a very neat way of actually covering up the drills, making them look all nice and fancy. But anyway, grabbing on my character, first person view once again, this is what we get, and of course taking off the ground. Like I said, it's perfectly fine actually flying around. It's a bit awkward at the end of the day, so moving around like so, can't just about see what you're doing. That's why the camera exists on the top, bottom, and the back. Looking around, there's an air vent, all the way down, and there we are. Third person view, bring on the HUD, these are the only controls we get for this ship. So number one for your drills to take over them, to collect up your resources, and of course to make a very big hole. And of course we've got batteries to auto recharge, which will turn off the ship and come crashing down to the ground. Number 6 is going to be the same for your atmospheric thrusters, there we are. Got number 7 and 8 for your magnetic plates and landing legs at the back there, to lock and unlock them, and of course to turn them on and off, which is a very good control to have on a mining ship. One thing you do want to do, especially on a ship that can drill all the way through a mountainside, is have your landing legs turned on, where you randomly get snapped down onto the ground, then you wonder why you're not moving. So we're just going to turn that off in the moment. And then our final control is our antenna, on and off with number 9. So with that, relying on the camera, here we go, moving around while empty. As you can see, on the alien planet, we are nice and fast, even faster, slowing down, which is jolly good stuff for a mining ship of any kind. If you want to be able to stop in time, pre-slam into something, and perhaps ruin your rare cargo. Moving left, and moving right very slow in comparison, still does not matter, it's not a fire ship, it's not going to be doing any kind of fancy maneuvering, it's just basically going to go from A to B in a straight line, just mining it up, taking it back to base, and all of that. Moving down to be gravity base, there we are, moving up, got a nice little speed thanks to our 2 large atmospheric thrusters. Of course gyroscope controls, lots and lots of control over this thing, so you may want to turn down the gyroscopes, but of course you want to turn them back up when you all fill up with cargo, it will make a difference. So, flying up to this mountainside, we're now going to drill into it. Then what we're going to do is just drill so the ship is fully inside the mountainside. Then we're going to reverse the L's, and then that'll be that for this video. So, all the way up to here. There we go. Now I'm going to start mining it up. I'm going to try to keep it nice and stable. I've got to turn the connector at the back. So to here, turn that off. There we go. And now moving forwards once again. And there we are. It took no time whatsoever. But I'm now fully inside the mountainside, so if I move the camera, it's going to get all wibbly wobbly. And I'm just going to do reverses out. There we go. Bring up the HUD once again. And we're just going to make sure this is nice and aligned so it doesn't wander off by itself. And come into the hole. And there we are. So yes, we go all the way inside. It's nice and straight. So you can just drill all the way through, turn it out, make a nice base inside the mountainside, if that's what we want to do. Just come back all the way over to here. Come through the top access. There we go. And we're just going to drive around one more time. So moving forward, in fact, slowing down again, what I'm just going to do now is, put like so, I'm going to move down slightly, and there we are, that is the time it's taking to slow down, but of course I will not damage this thing, because I forgot that plot destruction was turned off in this world, but that's what you got to be careful about, what I said about earlier, about flying this very carefully when you all fill up, especially on the alien planet. You've got to make sure you've got plenty of stopping time when moving down, make sure you do stop in time for slamming into the ground. But other than that, it's a fantastic little ship. It'll get the job done at the end of the day if you want a nice looking mining ship with a fancy bit at the front there covering all the drills. We'll be linked to a description below to choose out and plan it yourself. Highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video somewhere soon. Hopefully it'll be Space Engineers 2, because what's glorious, there's a small chance I've got to actually play it. But yes, if it is more stable, I'll do a video on that. If not, back to Space Engineers 1. Bye bye.